He wound up with 66 total yards. He had one 11-yard run. But when they needed him to hammer the Eagles into submission, he just can't do it. I don't know what it is about him because he's big enough to do it, but he's better off the edges or getting loose when he has a big burst.
Well, Skip, he got to juke 2 or 3 guys in the backfield just to get going.
Okay, but he can't hammer away like my man Zeke used to hammer away.
Oh, yeah.
Used to, but that was once upon a time.
Well, you're behind, so you don't need to hammer then.
So I'm going to give you this. It was raining hard through the first 3 quarters, and they did lose Alshon, and they were without Aguilar, though you'd say that's an advantage.
Oh, yeah. That definitely.
At this point?
And they lost Lane Johnson. So I'm going to give you all of the above, but it's still the Giants, and I got to tell you, your man bounced it to him for the first 3 quarters. He was scary bad. I give you the comeback. He was impressive, especially, I'll give him most of the 4th quarter. But for 3 quarters, almost like 3.5 quarters, I was saying, what are you doing? I know the ball's wet, but I'm seeing bounce it to him. I'm seeing wild high.
Kind of like your guy, Dak, in New England.
I don't see that.
Oh, you did see that in New England?
In New England, when it was 30-mile-an-hour
winds. But no, it's elements.
I didn't get any wind last night. Like, no huge gusts of wind.
Skip, you saw it. It was a deluge.
Deluge. I don't think it was a deluge. So that brings me to number 86. And if somebody can please explain to me how the Giants could go into the game and say, gee, who really cares about number 86? Because 86 is everything to Carson Wentz.
Fair.
It is his security blanket. When in doubt, he looks for 86. Actually, almost every pass play, he looks first for 86. The one thing the Cowboys have done fairly well against Philadelphia is they get it that you have to try to take him away. He is so good you can't completely take him away because even if you bracket him or double him or whatever you're trying to do, high-low him, he'll still get open because he's just too good and the quarterback trusts him too much. They have a special wavelength. So if you go into a game and you're trying to upset the Eagles, you might as well just say, well, let's first try to take 86 away. And I look up early in the 2nd quarter, and I'm saying, well, Giants, what are you doing? Are you trying to get blown out? Because could we see these 2 plays? These are 2 fairly early plays back-to-back. That's Zach Ertz. Maybe somebody should cover.
Skip, hold on, man. You see,
it's a broken play.
Thank you.
Okay, but this is not a broken play. And wait a minute.
Oh, my bad.
Nobody's home. Nobody's home. What are you doing? It's Zach Ertz. Are you trying to lose? And they couldn't even convert that. That turned into a field goal.
Right.
So then we get all the way down to 1:53 left in regulation, and it's 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line, and again, it's another ref blunder, but the clock hit zeros before the ball was snapped. If we could see this play.
Skip, if it snapped zero, the ball was in the process of being snapped.
No, it was not in the process. It was definitely, it should not have been allowed to be snapped. And it was a touchdown that tied the game, but I'm going to remind everybody, until 2 minutes were left in the game, Carson Wentz's offense had a grand total of 10 points against a team ranked 29th in scoring defense. 10 points? That doesn't that qualify as shameful? Shouldn't you be a little embarrassed about that?
You just got
and you know what that should have been? That should have been 3rd and goal from the 7. If they'd called it, it's another referee blunder. I swear, I don't know why. Just to my eyes, my ears, my psyche, it seems like the refs in the NFL get a little worse every year. That's just what it seems like to me.
Stop it.
We see,
especially when they call your team's game.
Cowboy, 2 tripping penalties at New England. How do you call tripping? How do you call that? And then the N'Keal Harry play Sunday. What is that?
Hold on. So in your 40 years of following and covering the game, you've never seen official blow calls?
I've seen them blow calls, but it seems with such regularity that now it's become, like Jerry Jones always argued with me, human frailty is it's part of the game. It's part of the entertainment of the game because people love to debate, was that a bad call? Yeah, it was a bad call. So why can't you perfect your game?
No,
you have the technology to perfect it.
Because you try to perfect something that's played by imperfect human beings. Skip, the only difference is now is that there's more cameras. There are more eyeballs to focus on. Skip, you remember back when you first started covering, if you weren't in the national game, you might have got 1 camera. That was it. Now everybody gets 5, 6 cameras. Super Bowl gets in somewhere between 20 and 30 cameras.
Yeah, there was
more now.
The one that got stuck in my craw was the Mike Renfro play.
Right.
At Pittsburgh. It was Houston Oilers at Pittsburgh, and it was for the AFC. It was to get to the Super Bowl after the 79 season.
I was about to say 79.
And he obviously...
He toe-tapped.
He toe-tapped. He got his feet in, and they said no, and there's no review, and that was it. So Pittsburgh advanced.
Right.
and I believe beat the Rams. Beat Vince Ferragone's Rams in the Super Bowl out here in Pasadena. Okay, so back to the end of the game. Now we get, you already mentioned this. Last play of the game, if we could see this, and you said Zach Ertz motion, he motioned a little bit.
Yeah, short motion.
I believe that the Giants had decided they'd had enough.
Oh, but stop.
They wanted to get home and get to bed or get out. Maybe they all had dinner plans in Manhattan. I don't know.
Stop.
I don't know.
Too late.
But they just decided we've had enough of this. It's cold, it's wet, it's dreary, and we are about to be, 2-12.
Right.
And that's it. Let's just let Zach Ertz run free on the play of the game. Let him run free. Nobody takes him.
Because I'm looking at it, I look at the backside, and that guy's playing man at the top.
Okay.
The linebacker on the inside, I think he was going to play man, but Boston Scott picks up a blitzer. So now,
okay, if there's a blitzer, it's probably man to man.
Right.
I'm
so I'm looking at Ogletree, and I'm looking at the DB, and I'm like, okay. Because the guy that takes the tight end, he takes one tight end to the flat. He's got him man. And I'm looking at you two guys, and they're looking at each other like
who's got him? Nobody's got him.
Right.
So the number one targeted receiver, the guy who had 13 targets last night, goes uncovered on the play that wins the game. Can somebody please explain that to me?
And it's Skip, it's really the same play that they ran, that he scored the first touchdown on, is that he's already lined up, so he doesn't need to force the guy with an outside release because these guys already outside of him. On the touchdown, 24 is playing in man-to-man, so he has to stem him to get back inside of him. Well, since he's already outside of the formation, he just goes right up the field and nobody takes him. And I'm looking at 31 is looking at 47 Ogletree, and Ogletree is like he's playing an area. No. I don't know, Skip, it's hard for me to say because maybe he thought, well, once he comes back in short motion, once he comes back towards the formation, we're going to zone it off. Because it looked to me, had he stayed there, they were going to play man. But once he started coming in motion, Skip, you see the guy, he starts expanding. I'm like, what are you doing? Because even if he just throws it, if he just runs a hook route, he's going to be open because everybody's vacating the area.
You should have thrown it underhand to him. Seriously. He could have fair caught the ball. Have you ever seen somebody fair catch like a 2-yard touchdown pass? I'm here. I'll just fair catch this. It's embarrassing.
But that's what bad teams
do. And it took that. It took all the way. And when it was over, I sat back and I said, I just wasted 3.5 hours of my life.
No, you didn't.
Because it was a fait accompli from the start. It was over. They were going to the Giants were going to lose. Why would you just drain me for 3.5 hours? Keeping me on the edge of my seat, maybe, but probably not. Maybe.
First of all, it's a 2-win Giants team, and they're playing a 5-win Eagles team. And the only reason it drained you emotionally is because you were hoping the Giants could do something you haven't failed to do. You haven't taken care of your business like you're supposed to. So you're hoping the Giants can do something you haven't done. So that's why you're mentally drained.
The reason I'm mentally drained is because I keep watching my team not have to win games, and it's because the Beagles have enabled my team not to have any sense of urgency. And I'm hoping my team didn't get lulled back to sleep by watching the game last night. Like, these guys, we're supposed to be afraid of these guys? Seriously?
What about your team's not very good? You worried about the Beagles. How about you worry about your own self?
What about the Beagles not being very good?
Okay, that's...
Because I'm going to give you this. These are two weirdly troubled teams where you keep watching them and you say, what's wrong with that? Why didn't that? What's missing here? Something is missing with the Beagles.
What about
something is missing with the Cowboys?
What's missing from the Cowboys? Yeah, tell me that.
Well, we're going to do a whole topic about that.
Apparently, we don't know.
I don't have enough time. If I had another hour, I'd tell you.
How about this, Skip? Eagles are 6-7. The Cowboys are 6-7.
Yep.
You make it seem like you guys are like y'all favorite for the Super Bowl.
Cowboys beat the Eagles. Cowboys in first place.
You beat them one time.
So I'm going to give you this. There was one little spark that scared me about the Eagles last night, and his name was Boston Scott, and he was like the 5th-string running back. And all of a sudden, he got his chance. And the reason he scares me is little Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Have you been watching him for LSU?
Yeah.
He has been their spark plug, right? And they're both from Baton Rouge, and they're both about the same size. They're both, Edwards-Helaire is 5'8", and he's 5'6", Boston Scott. But
you remind you of Sproles.
Well,
Darren
they're both little guys.
And I'm like, how you doing this with 2 last names? You know, 2 last names, you ain't supposed to be able to do nothing. But he was kicking. get it to it, they toss
So
it
that
to it.
worries
You know
you a
what?
bit.
I wish Boston Scott played for New England because that's where he belongs.
Whoa,
and they
whoa,
could
whoa, whoa.
use him right
Hold on,
now.
what about James White?
Whoa.
You want to kick James White to the
I
curb?
don't know.
Oh, what about Burkhead?
Yeah.
You know, Burkhead scored the game-winning touchdown in Arrowhead last year in the championship game. You see how he quick to disregard.
Patriots ranked 23rd in rushing. They could use a little Boston. In
The
New England.
quarterback is
Little
ranked
Boston.
20th in QBR, 30th in completion percentage, 29th in yards per attempt. So talk about that.
So Dak is now overall ranked 9th in QBR. And
Hold on.
wait a second. Bounce it to him is way down there at 9th. Is that right?
Hold up, 9th.
Yeah.
What's Dak ranked?
3rd.
Third.
Hold on.
73 to 63 on average.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how did that was like for the first 10, 11 weeks. He was number 1. What's
He
happening?
was. Yep.
He like Michael Jackson at the Motown Award. Just
What
moving
happened
backwards.
was
James.
driving rain, 40-mile-an-hour gusts in New England. That's what
Hold
happened.
on. What the-
QBR 15, that dragged him down
Did
to
you
3rd.
not just watch Walking to Him?
I tried to watch him for 3 quarters, and I was covering my eyes.
Okay, what don't you like about 325 and 2 tubs?
I like the end result. I thought he was really good down the stretch. He was against the Giants.
Yeah.
Now, you know what, Skip? Now, see, I would have had nothing to do with this stat line had they been down by 28 points and he comes back and throws for 400 and they lose like somebody else does